All right, we're live.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
What's happening?
Episode 3.
Hey, since Bananas isn't joining us, so maybe what we should do is start the show over again, like they used to.
Ready?
You know what I'm saying?
Two.
Like after.
And representing, had to show that.
There he is. Yeah, I like to say he's here in spirit.
Absolutely. All right, so what'd you say, George? This is episode 3 or 2?
3. Season 2, episode 3.
Holy shit, time flies.
We were off last week.
Yeah, I was on vacation. You had record store day to deal with.
Yeah.
So tonight we got Metal Theologian Aaron, Mr. Bizzarro Aaron, and Corey Aaron. Welcome, guys.
Welcome to the air.
Great to be here again, guys.
So basically tonight, this is kind of we're just winging it. Basic topic is collecting. I've always found it interesting how everybody, records, anything, comic books, whatever it may be. Everybody that collects, they go at it a little differently. How they do it, how they store them, different phases they go through, just the whole nine. And I always found that pretty interesting, especially once I jumped into the VC and I would see how some people did it. And it's like, wow, I never thought about that. And then it was like, wow, that's stupid. You know what I mean? It's just, nothing against anybody, but just like, why would you do that? Or, wow, that's awesome. I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? And it's kind of a cool part of the VC.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where you guys want to start. I'll tell you, one of the things I find interesting is, if you guys want to start here, is like, as you're bringing new stuff in, what do you do with it? Like, I know some people might buy a couple albums, listen to them, don't buy anything else till they listen to those, put them away. Just like Metal Theologian. How do you, the influx that comes in, how do you do it?
If I intend to listen to them in the next month, they go in those stacks in front of the record player. So like when I'm not right by it right now, but I'm pretty close. But when I make videos, though, those records that are right next to me, that's generally where my new arrivals are. But they're always mixed in with shit that I'm pulling out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's something I kind of like to do too. Is this reminds me of this, or something like that. But yeah, they generally sit over there unless it's something that I am getting that I am not at all in the mood to listen to, but really need to have around for some reason or other. Like if there's a new Lee Perry record or something like that, right? I haven't been listening to much reggae, but I fucking love Lee Perry, right? So if, there's something along those lines that comes out, I might grab it and then just go ahead and stick it in the section, because then later on, I forget it's there, and I go through and I find a sealed record. I'm like, shit, it's like Christmas. Yeah.
You told me that before, and it's like, man, that's crazy. I never thought about doing that. You're like, sometimes I'll just put a new one away, and then I'll find it later and like, I forgot I had that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's worse is when you buy a double or something for that reason. And then what's even worse is when it's kind of a rare one that you had to spend a few bucks on. And you're like, shit.
Yeah. That's good.
Stupid.
That's
only happened like once, but
that's a good one there. How many people in here have bought a double, excited over buying something to get home and be like, God damn, I already have that. I have. Mm. Anybody else?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Really?
No.
Aaron's the only one. Definitely. How about you, Corey? How do you bring the new stuff in?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on the Mancave of Doom tonight. Man, last show with Johnny D was incredible, and I think this is a good representation of the vinyl community here. I just want to say this is a good group, because typically in record collecting, you have people that are very proud of what they have, or, hey, I've got this, I've got that. And I think this is right here is a really good representation of people that exercise a little bit of humility with their record collection, which I find important. I know it's easy to be human, right? I have this, I don't have that. But and I'm just a dabbler. I've only been collecting for 9 going on 10 years as far as vinyl records go. I only have about 2,000 vinyl records, a couple hundred tapes, and a couple hundred 45s. So I feel like I'm like entry level compared to the room here. But that's okay, But when I go out and buy records, they're coming in the mail, or when I'm coming back from a fair or whatever, I have a crate. You guys have seen my like Peaches crates. It just goes right into the crate. And then after it goes to the crate, when I get a chance on a Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, I build up a few, unless I'm really excited to play it. I go get the spin clean. I clean it. I re-sleeve the inner sleeve. I re-sleeve the outer sleeve, no matter what it is. And then it's ready to go. And then it stays in the crate until I get a chance to listen to it. Then it might stay in there a while. And then eventually I start to work that crate back into the shelves.
Right on. That's interesting. So you clean everything as soon as you get it in, and
So,
Yep. Not very often will I play a record without putting it through the spin clean first and re-sleeving it. Once in a while I will.
Wow.
I use my Dr. Disc or whatever the fuck it's called, the vacuum.
right.
I do it every time I get home with records. I clean used ones, that is. I clean them.
Now-
I put them in the, I'll put them in, and if it needs a new sleeve, I'll put them in a new sleeve, and then put them actually right behind me is where I keep all my new shit.
That's cool. Now I have a VPI cleaner, and
Yeah, that's a nicer one than I have. Like it's not ours. Mine's not Dr. Disc. I forget the name of it. Disc Record Doctor or some shit like that. It's like I got it on Amazon. It's one of those vacuum ones, but it was it was $200.
Yeah.
And it works just as good as the one we have at work. We have two at work.
That's cool.
Like
I used to use.
I saw a guy on YouTube make one,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I saw that.
it ended up costing him like $900.
Yeah, I know.
Make your own.
Oh, Jesus.
You fucking buy
That
one.
sucks.
Yeah, he's like, you need 10 feet of the UVC piping. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oh man.
The one he was making, wasn't it a ultrasonic one? Was that? Do you see the guy make that one?
I seen the guy make it out of the old Thorn's turntable, and he had a vacuum, and he had all these rubber parts he made. He had a
Wow.
chipboard. He soldered a chipboard or some shit and bought a 900 fucking vacuum shop vac and
Yeah.
lines, and it looked like this fucking monstrosity. It's Dr. Seuss nonsense.
Now, when I got that VPI, I used to use it. That was back when yard sales were still good and flea markets were still good. So I'd come across occasional dirty, records. But I got to the point where it's like, I don't clean them anymore unless they're extremely dirty. If they're just a little bit dirty, whatever, I use the brush, and I'm done. I've become very less anal with.
That's what I do when I put them on a turntable.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. As it's turntable spinning, use that audio disc brush, whatever the hell it is.
Sometimes I'll go wet. I'll play
Really?
wet. Yeah.
That's what she said.
Well, you can leave a very light layer of. I heard it.
I thought you missed it.
I heard it.
Not right now. Not the way shit's right now. man.
The small layer of like whatever cleaner, very light, but you could play it through the wet. It actually takes some of the pop out. It's
Actually, Corey, those metal shops I sent you on disc?
Yeah.
A lot of those, about half those, a guy transferred, and he's an old DJ. And I was asking him how he did it because I transferred the other ones to disc. You know what I mean? He's like, man, I have a bucket of water. I dump the vinyl in the bucket, get it real wet, slap it on my turntable, drop the needle, and start recording. I'm like, no, wait a minute. You mean you get it wet and clean it off? He's like, nah, I just slap it on a turntable wet, and you don't get all the pops and all that crap. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I think you guys are talking sacrilege here. Like if you,
I wouldn't.
That's right. I was like, what about the label, the center ring label and all that?
Right.
And he's like, I can take it. It won't hurt it. I'm like,
No,
yeah, you do that all you want, brother.
those recordings came out pretty well, but this is all sacrilege talk in the vinyl religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't use the word vinyl very much, though.
That's right. That's right.
It's like that's kind of the dividing line. Like people have been like, if Greeno says records, I say records. The 20-year-olds say vinyl. So again, I'm not into shitting on 20-year-olds. I'm glad they're into it, but
Like you are actually.
No, when I changed my name to just add vinyl, it was a little bit tongue in cheek as I got a little wiser. When in 2011 it was vinyl because nobody knew what you were talking about when you said records or albums. They're like, "What do you mean? A new CD?" No, I'm talking about a vinyl record. So we got tired of it. But you're right. The word vinyl is oversaturated. Absolutely.
Didn't you start about a year before me? Something like that?
I think it was 2011, or 2012, November 2012. I think is my first video.
Okay, yeah, it's more like 2 years then. I think I started in 2014. I might be wrong, but I think it was summer of 2014.
That sounds about right. Because I was early 12. George was around there. And I think, Corey, you were right after. So, and Aaron was, you might even been before us, Aaron. I can't remember.
Yeah, like 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, what are we, third wave or something, second wave, third wave or something
Probably
like that?
second wave, I would think. I don't know.
Shit, there are people here way before me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Hall of Fame and all those guys. They were
Yeah, and Derek and those guys.
Yeah.
Most people that ain't around now.
Man, it's all right. We're talking about the VC now. Aaron and I kind of talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Not to get into it, but Metal Theologian even did a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing about the
I
drama.
loved your caricatures. They were great.
Yeah. Dude, have you made mine yet? I'm being fucking
No.
serious. I want one.
You know something? You're one of 2 people who's asked me for one, and that was just stupid. I was like, what's the dumbest thing I could do? How about if instead of like actually talking, I just drew pictures of everyone? And that's why I didn't put Hannah in, because her feelings had been hurt. I was like, I don't want to draw some shitty ass picture of someone who doesn't really know me. You know what I mean? Because I've never had any dealings with her. I haven't with the Vinyl Guru either, but she does her own thing anyway. It's like, it's a brand new channel.
Oh,
Here's the thing. I don't know.
Chick.
I don't know any of those people. And that's what I'm kind of getting at now. Cause like I saw this drama thing going on and it came up in the feed or whatever. I'm like, what's this about? And I watched like a couple minutes of 5 or 6 videos and it's like, wow, I'm completely out of the VC now. I don't know any of these people now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, evidently there's a bunch of drama going on in the VC and I'm like,
What are they, all the younglings?
nah, there was older people,
No.
newer people. Dude,
Make this fucked up now.
What kind of shit can we get in? What kind of shit can we stir?
It's typical. I
I
don't even want to say it. People dumping on people for no reason.
Yeah.
And
Same shit happened
it's-
back years ago when we were more active, I guess.
Let's go start some shit.
the same exact shit that's been happening since the beginning. Basically.
Yeah.
We'll bring
There'd
back
be some drama about once a year. Maybe it used to be maybe twice a year. Everything would calm down, and then something would bubble up, and then people would get each other's backs and then stab each other's backs, and then But we used to have fun. If you remember, Greeno, and George, we used to do videos where we make fun of each other or make fun of, have a little bit of fun with that. There's been about 2 or 3 times where I've almost shot a video like Metal Theologian. I was going to have my daughter do the camera like Spencer, and I was going to sit on the floor, and I was going to pull some records out. But it doesn't seem like we're that happening. I know I could probably pull it off now and be fine, but everybody would be like, what's going on?
Right. But
Yeah,
I wasn't
you have
even.
those high production values. Mine's all shitty anyway,
But
Spencer's like, oh, do you want me to like do this and that with it? I'm like, nah, just fucking upload it. It's fine.
Right.
But really, I wasn't even talking about the drama. I'm talking about just the VC now. It's like, it really hit me of how much I'm not a part of this anymore. I don't know any of these people anymore.
I watched a couple new things like over the last 2 weeks, and I'm kind of happy I'm not a part of that whole thing anymore, to be honest with you.
Does anybody here really keep up?
I don't.
I don't.
I started.
I really kind of do.
Is there still? I know you, the old guard, you and Scott are still going with the metal, but is there still a little metal group going that I don't know about? Or
Well, Steve, he's kind of my cohort too. He and Scott and I all came in right around the same time, like within 2 or 3 months of each other, I'm pretty sure. So that's why I was asking Corey about when you started before, because I wasn't sure if you were in my cohort, if you were earlier, but you were earlier. So, but yeah, so I sort of keep an eye on those guys. And there's some of the guys I was like, the guy who kind of started all that drama. I think his channel is funny, dude, because he'll just sit there and just talk about some bullshit. I don't watch every one of his videos religiously, but once in a while, totally, you know whose channel he's sort of like is, if you've ever watched Eric Weinbender, he actually is one of the closer people to me. He and Farley are both, I could drive there in a few hours, which is kind of cool since it's less populated here. Right. But, Eric Weinbender does these really cool, just sort of like hanging out videos. And that's kind of what that Brian guy does too, but he does it a little bit differently, and it's more sort of his personality. Eric Weinbender, he just has like such a big heart, and it just comes out. He's showing the shit and he appreciates it. And sometimes I'll have a friend over and do something like that. And it'll be like a 40-minute video. And you're like, when am I going to watch that? And the answer is on a Saturday afternoon, you just binge a few of them. So
that's cool.
And to add on to Aaron, yeah, I do try to keep up. I try to watch videos. I try not to stay in the same group of 2 or 3 people. I try to keep, spread out so we don't get in like a clique. But I've been doing my best to keep up. But I have changed. My habits have changed a lot. I used to, I'll tell you right now, I used to spend all day Sunday afternoon, almost the whole day. I get up in the morning with a cup of coffee, and I would watch videos till 3, 4 in the afternoon, just because I don't know, a little bit of guilt. Or if I just wanted to keep supporting, and I wanted to leave a better comment than "nice video, I got that, I got this, nice video, see you next time." Here, so I'd watch the video, and then of course, but now it's just, it's hard to do that. It's hard to maintain that over 8, 9 years. So I do, I'm very particular with who I follow still. Try to keep up with everybody here and there, but definitely keep trying to keep up, I guess, is the short answer.
That's cool. Well, I was kind of wondering, is there anybody new maybe that we could have on here talking, mainly metal, you know what I mean, but hard rock stuff to kind of bring in. The only guy really came to mind, I think he kind of come on after I left, was that Too Much Metal Is Never Enough. What's his name?
Oh yeah, the Australian dude.
Yeah, he seems very cool. So
yeah.
I didn't know if anybody's had any interaction with him or.
No, I watch this guy, Greeno. He's up here. Watch George. I watch these guys. I'll just say occasionally, like when you type in something I want to see, then I'll click on it. Aaron, I just started watching again. I don't know why I didn't, because I'm not into most of his kraut weird sausage eating metal, industrial sausage making music.
Yeah, Leo, that's his name.
But sometimes he shows
I'm interested in.
So actually, everyone here has at some point something that I want to see. But I don't really know. Did I say Paniques and stuff like that? Occasionally I watch like Derek and stuff like that. But I'm just picking and choosing, I'm being really picky about what I watch. And
yeah. I mean, I just didn't know if there's any newer guys that would, kind of.
There are people that I'm new to subscribing to, but nobody that I'd want to. I don't know them well enough yet to be like, yeah, they're
right. That's why I was wondering if anybody. That dude's name was Leo, the guy in Australia. I didn't know if anybody had reached out to him yet or not.
I don't know who that guy is.
Who was the other
Australian channel?
Was it David? He kind of disappeared.
I was going to ask that because he used to do a series. You're talking about ripping on each other, and he did a series called "I Blame Somebody," and I think he only did 2 installments of that. But I thought it was kind of funny.
He was good. Dude.
There's "I Blame Greeno."
I've left him some comments, but I never hear back from him. I followed up on him a few times. Don't hear anything back. That was great. Didn't he do those movie trailers? Is that what you were talking about?
Ooh.
I think he did. I don't remember though. I'd have to look. I remember the White Wall.
The White Wall. Same.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last year he was wasn't that the year they were having all the fires and everything over there? And it was like, I remember him posting pictures of like the smoke and everything around the areas and all that. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that was the previous fires they're dealing with, not the more recent ones, I think, from earlier this year.
No,
I think, George, I think it's a good idea to include some of the newer folks in the vinyl community. I see some, because you want to keep this going. You don't want to make it seem like it's like the old VC gang, right? We want to branch out a little bit. I think it's a good idea, good direction to go. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
I dig the old VC.
I like keeping it old.
I do too.
Fuck the new kids.
We don't need
to.
Not to be a dick, but I think if we bring anybody in, I think they have to feel like they're going to fit. And that Leo guy seems like he might kind of fit.
I don't know any of the new ones.
I don't either. That's why I was asking.
I got a feed. I got some somebody in my feed this week, a female. I can't remember the name of her channel, but she seemed new. But she was very what's the word I'm looking for? Flamboyant, maybe.
Produced.
Yeah.
Does she have a hat?
Yes.
That was probably Vinyl Guru. Yeah, it's a good channel for what she does. It's solid. It's really good. It's just not so much my kind of video. It's a lot more.
In addition, real quick, I'd just like to say that since the early VC happened and we were kind of glued to what the internet could offer at the time, and it was new and really cool that you could even do this kind of shit. So the content was there, and so we focused in on it. But since then, there is so much more internet-based content out there, in movies and TV and people, and high-end YouTube like content, like Hollywood Graveyard, where they show you dead celebrities and where they're buried and stuff like that. But high-end stuff, there's so much to pick and choose from.
Yeah,
want to sit at some and stare at some dude in his fucking basement, prattling on about, you know, how his hair's all fucked up, and he's talking about how this and that, and he's acting weird and showing shitty records. And I'd rather go watch something with better content. You know, it's not like it used to be. So,
you know, once in a while, Coltrane will come in here and he'll look for like one of my channels to be funny. Like it's usually one of my religious channels because I watch a lot of religious YouTube too, because that's how I roll. And but today he put in VC Garrett, and I was like, oh, you know, nothing's gonna come up.
Back the truck up. Do you watch the religious things because you're religious yourself, or just as for the joke factor? Are you a religious person?
It's like politics. No, it's like politics where I get like the drama and the factions and shit like that. Only I don't have a stake in it, so I can just sit back and enjoy it. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit if the Calvinists or the Arminians like win the argument. You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect my life at all. Or the Catholics and the Orthodox.
Theologian name, right? That kind of plays into the metal theologian.
It kind of does. I've been, the middle theologian name is about 20 years old now. I actually used that when I guested on a radio show when I was living in LA, and I left LA in 2004, like spring, early summer 2004. So I don't remember exactly where it came from, but, you know, yeah, I was kind of interested in that. I've only gotten worse since then is the thing that comes to religion shit. So, I mean, I actually really enjoy talking about it too. I've thought about starting a channel, but I think I might sort of dilute my brand because I'm so disrespectful when I talk about it. I don't want to, like, you know, make anyone feel bad or anything, you know.
Hey, Bit Bop Boom. Yes, if you talk to Leo, maybe let him know about the Man Cave. You can check it out and maybe see if he's interested in joining sometime.
Yeah, him and Chris Fitzgerald too.
Yeah, Fitzy. I'm still friends with him on Facebook.
Me too.
Yeah, so maybe hit him up. He hadn't made a video in years, man.
That's why I just never thought about really, you know, asking him, but his Facebook posts are funny with his kid dancing every Saturday morning.
Dude, that's so weird because, you know, basically when he started into BC, she was born.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of, you know, watching her grow. What is she, like 6, 7, 8 now? It's like, wow, it's crazy, man.
Well, the twins were, what, 4?
Yeah.
4 when I started. They're going to be 15 in November.
All right, so we went down a rabbit hole there.
We always do.
Bizzarro.
Wait, where did we stop?
Huh?
I don't even know where we stopped. We were talking.
I think we stopped with Corey. So now,
what do you do with records when you bring them in? Yeah, because I thought it was something else that I wanted to add for my thing, but I forgot. So go ahead.
Too late.
Thanks, John. How do you do it, Aaron?
Well, I don't really clean them unless, you know, they're really bad before I play them. But typically what I'll do is I've got kind of like a cube that I'll kind of stack them in and maybe in order that I feel like I want to listen to them in. And then they'll be kind of right in front of my eyes, you know, as I'm in the room. So as I pan around, that cube is always like right there at my eye level. So it's kind of reminding me that, you know, there's something there that you could hear that can be new and something maybe you didn't hear before. And then as obviously as I listen, then I'll listen to as many times as I want, and then I'll file it. It's pretty simple.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about you, George?
I'm pretty much the same way. Like I put the new stuff here, and then when I listen to it, I'll either file it here, right next to me, until I bring it up to the other music room.
That's cool.
But
yeah, I'm kind of the same way, bring stuff in, but my problem is it's grown so much that, well, Aaron was here. He saw the just-in shelf next to the stereo. It's like,
yeah, that's it right behind you, right?
No, it's actually
no, I'm just kidding. It's about that much. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
I really do listen to my shit when I get it in here. That's a backlog.
Yeah, it came from. I mean, I have stuff from 10 years ago I haven't checked out yet because it was from, again, yard sales, flea markets, and when I was working for my buddy, selling stuff online, and I was getting paid in records. It was like, man, this stuff's building. And then I joined the VC, and that didn't help. It was like, holy fuck, I got to order this and this.
Yeah.
So it's definitely it's shrunk since I've left the VC for sure. But
well, you got rid of a lot too, didn't you?
Yeah, went through and just weeded out.
Yeah,
regular.
Yeah.
Sea level rock stuff.
So I said a cube, and you've got 18 shelves.
Well,
did I say one cube? I meant like 12. At least a dozen is what I meant in cube.
Yeah, there's probably 12. Well, Corey's been here too. He's seen how it works. It's ridiculous. I'm out of control. Okay, well, how do you guys file stuff? Theologian, go with you.
I mean, it's kind of lame by artist and then chronologically if I bother within the thing, which just depends on how well I know it. Like AC/DC, if those are out of order chronologically, I can't handle it. But like if my Sun Ra records aren't quite right, it's a fucking lost cause anyway. You're never going to figure that shit out.
Now you do genres too, right?
I do break them up by genre because I tend to, I mean, the way I think about it is if I'm going to browse, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like listening to a record. I feel like listening to a metal record. So I want to go to the metal section. You know what I mean? I used to have the death metal broken out. That's back integrated in there. But it's great, man, because I just found a Russian thing the other day that I'd forgotten. I was like, fuck, this is a great record. I forgot about it,
Right.
So yes, that's right. And I go through all these like old 70s rock records to get there. I'd be like, it's a pain in the ass, man. I don't feel like looking at these, these great records, but it's just not what I'm in the mood for now, let alone with jazz. Like trying to mix that with rock is just kind of a disaster anyway, I think.
And some of that stuff, well, let me ask you, where does Thin Lizzy go?
Rock.
See, I have it in metal.
Really?
Yeah. Led Zeppelin is in rock. Thin Lizzy, for some reason, is in metal. Alice Cooper is in metal.
Alice Cooper in rock too.
I always find that interesting too, where some bands end up in whenever you have genres broken out.
You know what I did do recently is I pulled my 80s Black Sabbath records out and put them in metal.
Oh, definitely. I have mine.
Because I have Dio in metal, right? But the 70s ones I have in rock.
So you would actually divide up. The Ozzy would be rock. The Dio would be metal.
Yeah, the Dio and the Ian Gillan is what it is in my collection. But yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, because it's two different moods is the thing. You know what I mean? When I'm like listening to the metal, I go, hey, let me pull out Mob Rules. That's fucking fantastic record. I haven't played it in a while. I don't say, let me pull out Paranoid. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'm listening to Birth Control and I go, hey, I haven't listened to Paranoid in a while. I'm going to pull that out. You know what I mean? Or some band like that, So yeah, it's just kind of the mood.
That's cool. I've actually thought, because basically I have metal all together, and then I actually pulled out all of the new wave of traditional, the newer bands. So I made a section just for that. But then I was thinking, I wonder if I could break it down into like the big bands, the A-level bands, your Metallica and Rat and all that stuff, and then go B level, and then go C level.
Man.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know.
Order and call thing, man.
So I
like to be egalitarian about it. You know what I mean? Because I'll go say, oh, let me pull out a weird private press to listen to, and then I'll pull out that fucking Malice record or something anyway. It's on Atlantic.
Yeah,
that's one thing I like about having it all together.
How about you, Corey? How do you do it?
One thing I find interesting with that is I don't separate my rock and metal. But I would like to have my thrash separated because I do like to just focus on maybe thrash or thrash-ish or some crossover. If I had that separated, that would be awesome because where was that one record? Where was that? And then you can't find it. So but the A, B, C level, oh my gosh. I don't have enough records for all that. Just by large, this is all, it's mainly rock. It's A to Z and then chronological. Because of space management, I've got some interesting things going on that kind of mixes it up a little bit. So I've got a crate for jazz and then another crate next to that's jazz, but then it goes into jazz fusion. And then I've got soundtracks by the door. Because when people come over, they're like, oh wow, look at all these records, but they don't know, most of these bands they wouldn't know, but they can look at the soundtracks. Oh, I remember that movie. I remember this, and Morricone or Rocky or Reservoir Dogs. It's all right there, and it's a conversation starter. But then everything else is A to Z rock. I mean, I even have the Eazy-E in rock. I do break out the blues. I break out the blues, classical. That's separated, and then I have a crate for 80s, kind of like 80s party music. Like so, that's totally separated from the rock because I don't want to come across some Bon Jovi or The Outfield. I don't want to come across, I don't want that on my shelf. But if people are over, my wife's, we're hanging out, listening to some 80s music, we're throwing on some Talking Heads, throwing on some Outfield, we might go back and, play whatever it might be. So that's all separated out. So just kind of box sets. I don't like the box sets on the shelves. So I got some box sets in some different places. But yeah, A to Z chronological for 90% of it.
That's cool. That's interesting. How many of you guys? I know Bizzarro, you collect soundtracks also, but how about you? How about everybody else? Are you guys big soundtrack guys?
Most of the soundtracks I ended up trading for my original Emerald record, actually, and I can't say I've ever regretted it. Wow. It's a pretty badass rarity, and if that's what they got me, I never played those fucking things. So, I know it's probably blasphemous to Bizzarro, who's like the king of these soundtracks. Like, had some pretty decent ones, No,
there's a difference between a soundtrack and an OST. You know what I mean? That's a whole different thing. You know what I mean? That's
actually I don't. But I'll take it for it.
If you're trading Rocky or some dumb shit like that, that's cool. I get it. I have both, but I'm deeper in the OSTs and original scores.
How about you, George? I don't recall you showing a lot of soundtracks.
I have a ton of soundtracks.
Really?
I would say probably about 200.
Wow.
Something like that. I mean, but it's I'm going back years though. I don't think I've picked up an actually that's a lie. I picked up one for Record Store Day, the Army of Darkness soundtrack.
That's cool.
But other than that, like soundtracks lately, I would say over the last 5 years have been like the especially like horror ones. Like
yeah, it's been a fucking bonanza, man. I've been tempted by that shit just because they look so cool. And one of the labels is run by a guy out of Savannah who actually had a shop here in town too, but he was ending someone's lease and he couldn't find another place. So he doesn't have a shop in Charleston anymore. But a dude from Graveface Records in Savannah runs it. I'm sure you know the label, Bizzarro.
Some of them are just so expensive, like especially the horror ones that I don't even bother anymore. So, but Army of Darkness, like I said, I just picked that one up. That was new though, a brand new one. It's never been on vinyl before.
Nice.
I see the ones I go for. You guys would be like, "What the fuck?" Is like Meatballs,
I have
Pink, Ice Station Zebra, the weirder old movies I can find, all the old Bond movies.
I love the '80s soundtracks.
Yeah, I mean, I just look for the weird movies that I like, and it's like that's cool. I have it, and I'm pretty sure I've never listened to hardly any of them. You know what I mean? So, but it's like wasn't long ago I found Silent Running. Do you remember that 70s?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just like, I love that movie. I'll pick up the soundtrack for $2. Yeah. But,
yeah, like I have the standard like Godfather and Goodfellas, and for me, they're my two favorite movies. But like anything that I grew up with too, like I have the Goonies soundtrack, Ghostbusters,
exactly, yeah,
Back to the Future. I'll never listen to them.
Yeah.
But the artwork reminds me of the movie because they usually back in the 80s they used the movie poster for the artwork for the vinyl. And that was at the time the only place you were really going to get something that you could have, and they didn't sell movie posters back then, so I mean they don't sell them too much now. You could probably find movie posters a little easier now than when we were young. But
Scotch.
Scotch.
She wants some scotch.
I know. She just got home from vacation and she wants some scotch already.
Stapler.
What is
it? I got some bourbon for you.
Dumbass. Come on, guys. Come on, Chubby.
Oh, God.
She just call you a dumbass?
Oh yeah, that's my middle name. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, no,
that or idiot, whichever you choose.
that's weird.
It ain't the dog's name.
Yeah.
I still think we were separated at birth.
What's that?
I really do think we were separated at birth because my middle name is Dumbass too.
There's a lot of them up in
Awesome.
Pennsylvania. Bizzarro, how do you file everything away? You kind of touched on it a little bit before we went live.
He touched.
Yeah. I do have things kind of, nothing is alphabetized. Things are kind of separated into soundtracks and OSTs, old records that are old, not new releases of anything. You know what I mean? So everything new stays separate. You know, even represses. So if there's Judas Priest, old Judas Priest, that stays with the old metal. And if I got a new Judas Priest reissue, that goes in the new pile.
That's interesting.
I don't like mixing them up. I think the old ones got some bad habits. They might teach these new fresh guys.
Yeah.
You know, so I keep them separate. And so simply metal and new. And if you ask me for anything in my collection, I'll know right where to go. But nothing is alphabetized at all. I've had it so long like that, and I add them so like purposefully, you know, that I know right where to go all the time. So also, I'm not buying hundreds, you know, of albums a month or a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm pretty selective now. I cut back my collection probably 80%.
Wow.
So, and you know, I decided to just go for quality. So I'm super picky about the shit I buy, which is make crate digging suck anymore because there's not much out there in a crate that's on my list. You know what I mean? So it's gotten a little stagnant like that. But essentially, that's how I have my stuff separated. Is just new from old soundtracks, and again, old soundtracks stay old. New are just kind of above them.
That's pretty great. Crazy. I've never heard anybody like kind of separates new pressings from old pressings. That's kind of cool. It's a different way of doing it.
Yeah. Do you watch that dude, Guy Wee, his channel? You know who I'm talking about? It's funny. He's a fucking guy who used to make Team Fortress videos. So he had like 20,000 subscribers. And he always comments on my videos. And he was like, you know, I'm thinking about starting to make videos. And usually I'm like, you know, fucking go for it. If you don't like it, no one's going to see it anyway. Just fucking delete it in a couple days. But he had 20,000 subscribers from his old Team Fortress videos. So the stakes are a little different. You know, I'm like, well, I want to encourage you, man. But I can get why you might be a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I brought him up because the way he files his shit is the oldest one he bought to the newest one he bought.
Oh,
and he has maybe 400 records. It looks like 400 or 500 somewhere in there. But yeah, I'm like, I mean, in a way, it's awesome.
It is.
I would be fucked.
Speaking of, hey, riffing off of that, Aaron, does anybody here know the first record they have in their collection? Like whether you restart it or not, can you remember?
What do you mean?
The first one you bought or the first one
you've ever bought in your collection right now? What is your first record?
The first record I ever bought is actually still in my collection.
You know what it is. You remember what it is.
It's a Ace Frehley solo album from '78.
All right, cool. Anybody else?
My first one definitely isn't in there. My first record was Business as Usual by Men at Work. I do not have that anymore.
That's pretty punky.
It's really not. Now, I do still have like some Deep Purple and AC/DC records that I bought when I was like 12 or 13, but I couldn't tell you what was first. Probably Deep Purple. Probably my copy of Fireball, thinking about it. But I can't swear to that.
Yeah, my first record I ever bought was in 1994. I was in Niagara Falls and found this on the Canadian side and found this like hippie shop. You know, they sold all kinds of stuff. They had concert tickets on the wall. I still remember it was a cool little shop. And I was like, hey, look, some vinyl records. All right. You know, I still have my records from when I was a kid. I had some of my brother's records. I always just kind of kept with me. But the first time I put down cash, I started digging through records and pulled out all these hair bands. It was Motley Crue, Theater, Paint. Ouch, Aaron! I saw that flint. Cinderella, Cinderella, Motley Crue, Quiet Riot, and there was just a small stack that I had picked up, and I still have the Cinderella Canadian pressing in the collection. The others I left at a party. You know, the classic. I left those records at a party somewhere.
Wow.
On purpose?
No,
Yeah.
no, not on purpose. Got a little buzzed, left, and said, "Hey, man, bring those records back that I left at your house." Never saw them again.
Yeah, because I probably told you this, but one thing I used to like to do is like stick bullshit records in my friends' collections when they weren't paying attention. Like I remember one particular guy, he really hated Billy Joel, so I bought a copy of An Innocent Man and like stuck it in there and like didn't say it like when he was in the bathroom or something. And the next time I came over, I was like, "Hey man, I didn't know you had a copy of An Innocent Man. What's this doing here?" Just shit like that. A friend of mine actually did it to me when he was here. This is my record collecting friend from San Francisco. He bought 2 copies of Born to Run. And he had one in the metal, and I found that in like a month. The other one, dude, I just found. And last time he was here was like a year and a half ago because of COVID.
That's awesome.
He had it in my Sun Ra section. I haven't been on any big Sun Ra kicks. He was like, he kept asking me. He was getting impatient. He was like, "Dude, did you find it yet?" I was like, "No, man."
Oh my god. The first records I had, I didn't buy, but I think I got my first turntable in '76, I think it was, and I got Beach Boys Live, and It's Howdy Doody Time.
Wow.
Yeah, my father
awesome.
I just thought that was awesome. But my first real like rock album was also right around that time. An aunt got me Live at Budokan 77, 78.
Mhm.
And then it was on to the Kiss albums, you know, or right before that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think like Budokan was 79, wasn't it?
Was it? Maybe I'm thinking wrong.
First record was 77, if I'm not wrong. It might have been 76, but I'm pretty sure it was 77. And you figure, you know, they put a couple
You're right.
studio albums out. I want to say 79, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right.
What the hell? I can't remember what it was then. The first
Yeah,
rock album.
whatever.
No,
My
I think what the first
first
rock
were,
album was Double Platinum Kiss. That's what it was.
That's
And
a good one.
Actually, as I stand here or sit here and look, all my original Kiss albums that I wouldn't put on my stereo now because I was a kid and they're beating the shit are in one of those little cases, you know, that you can put the top down and all that and carry with the handle. They're all sitting in a case on the shelf right here and beat the shit. But I won't get rid of them because they were my originals from when I was a kid.
I still got mine.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I never beat the shit out. I always took, even when I was a kid, I would put them on real slow, and
Well,
they still
play good.
oh yeah, it's weird.
I think I had
would listen to them all the time too.
I think mine was I had a shitty J.C. Penney's stereo with
Yeah, both of my aunts had pretty killer stereos for back in the late 70s. So
no, I didn't. I had crap in the 70s.
Yeah, I had crap in the 70s too. I had crap until I went and got my own shit. There's really no one around me who was into it. So, you know, people are into music, but not really into like records or listening to music at home, particularly, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up, I mean, pretty much I stayed with my grandmother a lot. So both of my aunts who are pretty young, my one aunt's only 5 or 6 years older than me. They were both big time music freaks. So
That's cool.
they listen to more. Like one aunt was like Cool in the Gang and that kind of disco shit. And then my younger aunt got into like Prince. That's why I'm a huge Prince fan. Because she was into Prince and used to play it all the time. I loved it.
All right,
That's
where do we leave
awesome.
off? That'd be George. How do you file everything?
Just alphabetically.
So you don't have genres or anything?
No, I have like all the rock and metal shit, and you know, together, and I have all my blue stuff separated. That's about it. Then like upstairs, I have my soundtracks,
Right.
but I don't. They're not even in the main room. They're in the other room. So
We have all the AC/DC separated, right?
yeah, they're right here.
Right next to it.
This whole shelf.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember your AC/DC video years ago.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, I probably tripled. Well, probably more than that of the just bootleg AC/DC alone.
Awesome.
It's crazy.
What? I just do this by genre, metal and rock, and then broken down into like 80s, MTV crap 80s stuff, and then punk, blues, soul.
Oh yeah, I have my punk separated too.
Yeah. Got a little jazz section, a little blues section. And then I did a 70s hard rock when I was going through that craziness there for a while. So I tend to do that when I get into something. I can kind of end up breaking out a section for it. That's what I did for the new wave of traditional heavy metal. That's what I did for the 70s hard rock. Yeah. And the last one I just did is for bootlegs. So now I have like a bootleg section. So
yeah, that makes sense. Like what you want to look at, you know what I mean?
My whole shelf.
What's that?
The Greeno's just when I went to Greeno's house and saw the amazing collection, and I went over and I was just getting obsessed with the 70s hard and heavy. Your 70s hard and heavy is like my whole collection.
It ain't that big. You exaggerate.
One of the shelf.
But well, we all went crazy for that stuff there for a while. I mean, I was going nuts, and I remember you jumping in. It's good stuff.
Oh hell yeah, man! I discovered that shit back in the 90s, man. I mean, I've always been to hard rock, right? But like when I discovered the German shit, that was like a whole new world. And I got into that shit in like 94, 95, somewhere in there. Like I had to get it on CD, and there were only like these bootlegs that you could find. So
wow.
It was kind of weird. It's like, oh, I never heard of this one before, and I like a book with all these names, and it all just seemed super obscure. And now I know all the shit, you know what I mean? But it's funny.
But what got me going was that first Lucifer album. And then kind of digging around, it's like, holy crap, there's all kind of like, And then all of a sudden I found a Karma pressings, those reissues. Yeah,
I got a lot of those blind.
Yeah, same with me, man. I got a ton of those. And it's like almost anything that come out on a Karma is like, I'm going to try and grab that, whenever they popped up. But there was a cool website that was selling a ton of that. It was Dune.com, I think it was. And that's where I got a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah, but they shut down or just quit or whatever. And it's like that's probably where at least 40% of all that heavy 70s stuff that I have came from.
Wow.
Yeah. Rockadrome's a good place too for that stuff. So if anybody watching,
The Rockadrome seemed to like kind of peak there, but they haven't had anything interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing out, but it doesn't seem like they had anything interesting since Winterhawk release.
Yeah, it's been a while. They get some cool reissues in occasionally, but not like they used to. But and I mean, I get some boots off of them occasionally now. That's been about it. But I wish they would do that, reissue that Amulet that they had. Oh, yeah. They put it out on CD years ago. I know you have that, some kind of pressing on vinyl, right, Aaron?
Yeah, it's some weird like reissue of it.
Is that the Monster pressing before Rocket?
I mean, I think it's Monster. It doesn't say Monster anywhere on there, though. I don't think so. I can pull it out if you want. I feel like I pull it out every time we're on one of these, though.
That's what she said.
Huh?
That's what she said.
Yeah.
But all right, I don't know where you guys want to go from here. Maybe different obsessions, like what I was just saying. I'm into bootlegs right now, so I had to break out a bootleg section of the collection. You know what I mean? Do you guys ever go through that?
I'm in the bootleg thing like you are. That.
I think a lot of people are kind of jumping in on the boots because they're pretty available right now.
Yeah,
like I see Scott showing a lot of them and some other people on Facebook.
Yeah, I've been doing more like going back and finding old shows online, digital shows, but like pre-FM masters and stuff, like old Aerosmith from the 70s. I guess maybe that's where they're getting some of these things for the vinyl shit that they're putting out overseas. But there's been some amazing like digital, somebody just uploads a whole show like soundboard.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I got a ton of Muddy Waters ones with him and Johnny Winter from like 78 or whenever that was.
Oh, that's cool.
I got one from the Tower Theater in Philly. and it sounds like a fucking live album. It's amazing.
Now, what are you obsessing on right now, Aaron? Metal Theologian.
Right now, I'm kind of between kicks right now, actually. So, I mean, here we go. This one just came in not too long ago. Scott had been telling me about this, and this is fantastic. It's Steel Prophet.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like, I don't know, their first album or something is a pure steel pressing. It wasn't expensive, but it's really good. And then, but then, you know something, I've kind of been lapsing into this. I mean, I showed all those Aerosmith records, right? You know what I pulled out yesterday? This.
Roadmaster.
I'm sure Greeno probably has like 4 copies of this, right? It's really kind of a total turd.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, look at those guys. Like,
Well,
and I was listening to this. Scott sent this to me, right? He was like, "Oh, I thought you might dig this." And I was listening to it when it started, and I was like, "Why the hell did Scott send me this? Why do you think I would like this?" But it does sound fucking perfect. Like, this is just so 70s. Like, this is what the 70s sounded like. They sounded like Roadmaster if you stayed out of the disco. You know what I mean? And that just like was perfect. And then with these like new jazz reissues, I'm kind of going back in that direction a little bit too. But
not to cut you off, but you just gave me an idea. What band is your 70s band? Like when you think of the 70s, who do you think of? Like what's the first band that hits you?
Probably Deep Purple.
Anybody else?
Led Zeppelin, then Deep Purple.
Truth and Janie, actually, just off the top of my head.
Wow.
Awesome.
Nice.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Anytime I like mine is the Allman Brothers.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, and
That's a good one though.
The only reason why I think that is I have this like I think Greeno knows this story, but I have this distinct memory of being in my father's car, and my mother and father were still together. So they got divorced when I was like 6. So that's just telling you, I had to be at least 5. And Ramblin' Man came on the radio.
Right.
And I was obsessed with it for some reason. And now every time I think of like, somebody says a set, what do you like in the set? I'm like, fucking Ramblin' Man.
Right.
I don't know why.
That's awesome.
I'm with you on that too, man. I'm with you on that's the other end.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Dickie Betts' kid and Dwayne Allman's kid have a fucking band together.
Yeah.
Allman Betts band.
Yeah, it's really cool. Actually, it kind of sounds like them a bit.
The new record just came out a couple weeks ago. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
If you want a new Allman Brothers album, pick that one up, man. He sounds like his father, and I forget Dickie Betts' kid's name. Dwayne Betts. Not only does he look like him, he plays exactly like his father does. It's fucking weird, man. It's like having the Almonds back again for some. It's weird. Like it's like a new Almonds record.
Yeah, they got that dual guitar thing going. You know, it's pretty cool.
It's all
Yeah.
You know, it's not them, but it's got the vibe. It's
right. Yeah, because it's more. I think it's more upbeat than some of the Almond stuff was.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, George. And I love the Allman Brothers. I started listening to them in the 90s and always had a soft place in my heart for them and Greg Allman. And then I actually got to see the Allman Betts band live last year. My wife and I went to the show. It was a great show. You could tell when I was watching, it's not like they're just kind of tagging along on their riding in the wake of their parents. They really are approaching it the right way. And if you like that kind of music, but I'll tie that into a question for you guys. So this came up in a thread in the VC a while ago, is like multiple copies of the same album. So I'm kind of like a Fillmore East. You know, like anytime I see a copy, like I got a UK copy, I got the Nautilus pressing, I got the MoFi. I mean, I go nuts with that.
Yeah, I've got about 8 different copies of that album too.
Reel to reel.
That's awesome.
And here's my fucking dude. This is my white whale. About 5-6 years, maybe a little longer at the.
I want to see your white whale, man.
That's what she did. We got in a white label promo of that record. And I was like, fucking drooling over it until I saw what they were going for. And like at the time they were like $700 was the average.
Christ.
Jesus.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I can't afford that. So we put like a $400 price mark, on it, price tag on it. Fucking it was gone that day.
Wow.
Wow.
Jesus.
Just somebody walked in and was like, dropped 4 bills on it. Like, shit, man, maybe we should have put 600 on it.
That's an interesting question, Corey. What do you guys have? The one record you pick up, you just said yours, but the one record you pick up every time when you find an affordable, like how many copies do you have of one specific album?
Power Age for me.
How many copies?
Oh,
Jesus.
hold on.
He's taking off his shoes.
I don't know, this many.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
Jesus, man.
That's awesome.
They're all different. Believe it or not.
They're all different.
Well, I think I have 2 like mint US, 2 mint US pressings of it, but the rest are all Canadian, Australian, from all over the place. And a couple, actually just one of the 180 gram reissue from whenever they came out, 03 or whatever. I guess it wasn't that long ago, but.
How about you, Bizzarro? Do you have any doubles like that on anything?
I do. They kind of vary. I think what I've got the most of is moving pictures. Just, you see an Italian press, you see a German press, you see that shiny thin cover, it's different.
Yep.
One's a gatefold for some reason, one's some Korean backyard press. So yeah, a bunch of those, probably 5 or 6 of those, and the other ones are actually 8-track. I collect a lot of 8-tracks, and I get every Frampton Comes Alive on 8-track that I find. And there are lots of variants and lots of colors. So I probably got a dozen of those, and none of them are even the same color. So I pressed them a lot, dude.
That's a big record.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Aaron, do you have any? You don't strike me as someone that would have doubles unless it was a completely different deal.
Yeah, I mean, if I find something rare that's really cheap, I'll grab it, but that's like something I'm holding back for a trade or something like that,
Right. That's
not really the same thing, I don't think. Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I have doubles of a few things, and there's usually a reason I have them, like Power Age is one. I mean, I have 2 of those because I actually bought a copy specifically last time I was in Germany because it has Cold Hearted Man on it. And I was over there when I got into them, so I'd only ever heard it, and not having that in there, I mean, having the other alternate track where it just fucked me up. But then when I was collecting all the Australian ones, I got a copy of that from there too. I think it's actually a New Zealand pressing, but anyway, so
German one, the Cold Hearted Man's actually 4 or 5 of those songs on there, different mixes than the rest of the.
Really, I never noticed. But then I only ever play that one. So
yeah,
since I was a fucking kid, I only ever played it.
There's some guitar tracks missing, some different vocal stuff that he added on later. I think it was a rush job for the most part. For the story I've read in a few books was the German label wanted it out. They handed in like the unmastered version of it before they finished remixing it, and the German Atlantic just pressed it. So
really,
yeah. It's weird. I don't know what happened to Greeno. Here he comes.
It's funny how he managed to end up talking about AC/DC again, though.
Yeah,
seems to happen when George is on.
That's my boys.
My boys.
Hey, can you see me?
No, I can hear you, though.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Camera got disconnected or something. Let me go out and come back in.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah, he just popped off. I don't know.
All right.
Probably one of the dogs is pissed off that he's on the
What do we do now?
Yeah.
All right, what are we talking about?
We were talking about
since you said you hear me now. Remember when that guy like switched over, like the guy who did those Verizon ads?
Yeah,
they switched over. I remember there was this big billboard by the train station where I worked, and it had him on it and said "Make the switch." And I like to pretend that was an ad for like sex change hormones. And I was just like, "Make the switch," you know. Like, imagine if they advertised it like that. That'd be so funny.
Hey, there he is.
You guys were talking about too many copies of something. Here's an example of the flea market and yard sales.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! What's that?
That's Stones.
Exile on Main Street.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I didn't pay more than maybe $3 or $4 for any of these.
Did any of those copies have the postcards in them?
I'd have to look, dude. It's been so long since I've messed with them. But the one that anytime I see, you can't get it anymore because it's expensive, but was the 598 EP from Metallica. Like I got like 7-8 copies of that.
Jesus.
Nice.
Yeah, but that thing was going for stupid money for a while, you know. But I used to pick them up whenever you could find them cheap, and I'm still
a stupid record to pay for. I never got that.
Yeah, I didn't bring up AC/DC this time. Jeffrey Stoltzman wants to know if AC/DC has anything coming out, anything new coming out. No. Unfortunately, no. There's supposed to be a new interview with Brian on TV this week sometime, but who knows if they're going to talk about the record or anything. Right. They keep everything fucking real close to their chest, man. So it's like they've never been one to leak anything.
Now, Aaron, maybe since his voice is shot, he'll pursue an acting career.
No, please.
Like we'll see him and Henry Rollins and shit, you know.
Nah, you know his vocals have been better. I mean, Black Ice, I thought they were the best he sounded probably since Fly on the Wall. I think Fly on the Wall is where the change started. By the time Blow Up Your Video came out, which was 3 years later, his vocals were entirely different.
Yeah, Van said last he heard they were in Vancouver recording. That's the last thing I heard. Or they were spotted up there.
That was 2 summers ago now. Or it might have been, was it last summer?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Ryan's back. They're all back. I mean, it's not a secret that Cliff Williams did the record. But according to people I talked to that supposedly know shit, they used a bunch of riffs that Malcolm had recorded. So actually, Malcolm's going to be on the album.
That's cool.
His guitar tracks are going to be on some. I guess some of it. I don't know, but they were going through a bunch of tapes and stuff, and then I guess either writing around riffs or who knows. But
trying to put shit together.
Yeah, it's definitely more. According to Dee Snider, who talks to Brian all the time, it's more of like a tribute to Malcolm than anything. Now, I don't know what that means entirely, but if he's going to be on every song but I don't expect them. I really don't expect them to do a big tour. I would imagine like they did last time. They play one night and then they're off 2, and then they play another night and they're off 2. Because he has the system now that he can perform live again without blowing out his hearing.
That's cool.
Supposedly.
Aaron, you said something about the 598 EP. Not a fan, or?
Well, when it came out, I was like, oh my God. And I mean, I'll be honest, I turned on to most of those bands for that thing, so it was a big deal. But the idea of spending a lot of money on that just seems kind of dumb,
I think the reason was that never got reissued until just recently.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Like last year, I think they finally put it out on vinyl and CD. I think the CD is even harder to find than the vinyl.
The new CD?
I remember they reissued it. They put it out in the long box, which was kind of nice, but also kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they kept it cheap.
Yeah, that was cool.
Even with the long box, from what I remember, was the same price as getting it without the long box. That's one thing with Metallica.
Oh, really? I didn't even look.
with them when they put out shit like now that they're doing it all themselves, they put out their shit pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to everybody else. But.
Who reissued their stuff right before they started that Blackened label or whatever?
Just Elektra.
I thought it was Warner or something. Didn't they sign to them? And
well, that was they're the
same group.
Yeah, same group.
Those suck. I don't know if you guys ever got any of those reissues. They are bad.
No.
They sound like crap. The Blackened reissues they did are pretty good. But
the Puppets was terrible.
Yeah, it was like I think I had that one, and I can't remember one other one. It was just
Is that the one that they did the double 45 RPM?
They did that also. Yeah,
they sounded like shit too.
Yeah, it's like it's a good thing they started their own label and started doing it right.
All those double ones,
yeah.
I got rid of all of them.
Well,
I didn't know those were so bad. I remember when those came out, they were supposed to be a lot better than the albums. And, I was like, I'm not going to go and fucking buy it on 245s and I already have the record,
Yeah,
but,
those pressings I have anyways were shit, man.
Yeah, they weren't good.
Yeah. I mean, I still hung on to them. But the ones I've heard from the Blackened reissues are pretty good from what I've heard. Yeah, everybody says. So you guys want to go into got any new stuff? What's been spinning? What's going on? Corey,
sure.
What do you got going on, Corey?
Here, Aaron can help me out with this one, man. I was really excited. So I was at this place, Nail City Records in Wheeling, West Virginia. I was so stoked to get this. Do people still say stoked? I was still stoked to come across this. This is a new find. So it's a record store.
Nuts.
I mean, just sitting in the bin, waiting for me to come along and snag it, and it's in pretty good shape. But yeah, can you talk a little bit about that, Aaron? Tour?
No, I don't know anything about him. It's such a gem. I mean, people who are into that shit, like the Eastern European stuff, and know better than I do. That's like one of the bands that's kind of revered, not to the same degree as like Root, but yeah, as Czech bands go, I think they're about as big as it gets. They are Czech, aren't they? I could even be wrong about that shit. I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Then they have like human bones. What is that? Is that a church?
Oh, it's probably one of those old clay churches. Yeah, I think there are a few of those, but yeah, that are just like all like that's how they're decorated. Like the whole fucking thing, like floor to ceiling, is just like skeletons. And that bone chandelier on that, yeah, that's not fake.
That's crazy. And then you asked in the private chat, what's the most we ever spent on a blind buy, and that would be that. I think it was like $50, and I bought some stuff. Maybe they gave me $5 off on it. So that'd be $45 on a blind buy, and it's really cool thrash. They get a little silly on it, they have a little fun on the recording, but this is it's really killer. I'm glad to have it, and I wouldn't have it if I didn't tune into Metal Tea. So
Awesome.
Shameless plug.
That looks like something Brother Lee up in Canada would show.
Yeah,
all the Czech.
Oh yeah, totally. Lee would.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah, especially the Yugoslav shit. And he knows where they're all from and that too. It's kind of nuts the way he.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I know he shows some odd dude, I've never even heard of these bands, man.
Yeah.
How about you, Bizzarro? What do you got going on?
Well, I wish I could show you vinyl from the band that I kind of been listening to a lot lately, but I'm still figuring out what I want to order. But the band's called All Them Witches. I don't know if anybody knows them.
Just by name.
I think I heard them on XM radio lately. Yeah,
they're really good. U.S. band. They're kind of all over the place. They're heavy. They're heady. Ethereal kind of stuff. Blues. The singer, bass player, drummer, guitar player. They do slide stuff, and they kind of just go far enough and then come back, and just go far enough and come back. So all their albums are completely varied. They all have structure individually, but they're not afraid to go. They're not afraid to shuffle all over the board. So you're never quite sure exactly what you're going to get, but it's always fucking good. So if you want to listen to a really good All Them Witches album, it's the self-titled ATW album. That's really good. Dying Surfer Meets Maker, I think, is another one. Anyway, I don't have any of those to show, but another one that I was spinning recently is I just went and just kind of did a general area where I, thought I picked something I was into, and I pulled this. George, there you go, bud. Thanks, man. Sorry about the glare. This is Mahogany Rush. What's next? The Frank Marino.
Damn.
This came out in '82, and this also is part of my obsessive albums of the time. I remember picking this up for $1, and I never heard. This is my first introduction to Frank Marino. Was this album? And if you want an album that, regardless of what the tempo the song is, has endless and boundless fucking power and energy, this shit is just intense all the way fucking through. I don't think he does a single other album where he shreds more than he does on this album. The band, Jimmy Ayub and the rest of the band, are super fucking tight. They do a couple standards, and they do a lot of the original stuff too. What I took away from this was the energy was incredible, and you're not just going to sit back and listen to this LP.
Yeah, that's cool.
I recommend it, man. And that was my entry. And then I went backwards and then forwards, back up to that, and then forward from there. So
what year is that? That's 80s, right?
82.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So not even 70s, it wasn't even like Dragonfly and, any of that real early Max Zoom stuff. It was kind of early 80s, like Marino. And he sounds fucking amped. I mean, completely amped in comparison to his more mellow 70s, what you'd expect from 70s kind of shredding, as it were.
Right.
Interesting stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Coffee music,
Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else?
I can show another one if you want.
Yeah, man. What you got?
Another one I had on recently was this guy.
Oh, that's cool.
This is the American press of the first Uriah Heep. Let me bust this open. This one's really cool. I have a lot of room. There we go. Dude, I'll put it sideways for you. Yeah. You have giant, like a fucking centipede demon. Anyway, I was playing this, and what I really like about this album is when I originally heard it, it was about the first time that I realized that it was that whole multi-track vocal kind of thing, King Diamond you know what I mean? And so I heard this after I knew
Queen.
King Diamond. What's that?
The Queen, man. I think the early Uriah Heep. I think Queen was probably listening to them. If you listen to what they were doing with vocal harmonies and compare with where Queen went with it in the mid 70s.
Yeah, I could see that, man. I could see that. Yeah,
anyway, I mean to interrupt.
Crazy vocal layering, with high pitch. One of those vocal layers is a crazy high pitched, total like King Diamond riff, and Queen too. That Brian, the drummer, his super high squealy scream at the top of all those, that layering. But Mick Box is like the king of wah. He's wahing away on there. Ken Hensley, Mick, of course Byron. We used to call him King Byron. We mix him up and call him King Byron, King Diamond, and
it's such a different singing style, though, man. Because you really hear, David Byron has a really 70s singing style. It's funny to think of it that way because you think the human voice, but you compare that with King Diamond, how he sings, and it's like night and day.
Yeah,
sort of a thin, piercing sound rather than that meaty chest voice that you get from David Byron.
Yeah, meant to penetrate. That very flamboyant, punchy vibrato. And those very on timbre squeals that are just straight across audio wise. Just penetrate your ear.
Right on.
Yeah, so
I need to go back, and I haven't spent enough time with Uriah Heep.
You probably haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I have all the 70s stuff, but it's up to a Balmanog. I like that album. But
I think that one sucks, man. I tried so hard to like it.
For some reason,
such a piece of shit, dude. You like Foreigner?
What's that?
You like Foreigner?
The band?
Yeah.
70s stuff.
Yeah, there you go, man. It's like a whole bunch of Abominologues.
I don't know, dude. I always kind of like that album. The album right after, what was it? It was like a follow-up kind of a hit metal album or whatever. I didn't dig it too much, but
Dude, every time I fucking put that record on, because every couple of years I get suckered into pulling it out again by one of you assholes. And then I put it on and go, yeah, the first song on this isn't too bad, you know? And then it gets that on the rebound. On the rebound. I'm like, fuck you, man. It's a fucking Foreigner song. Get out of here with that shit.
in all fairness, I haven't listened to it in probably 8 or 10 years, so I probably need to spin it again.
It fucking
Yeah, it sucks. And you know, like Fallen Angel gets a lot of shit. I can hang with that better than I can hang with that fucking Abominable turd.
Oh man, what you need to spin is Theater of Pain.
yeah.
You know, in a way, Theater of Pain
Here we
offends
go.
me less because Theater of Pain like was never not a piece of shit, you know. But Abominog, like even when it came out, everyone knew it was a piece of shit. Like all the Motley Crue fans weren't sure if they should like it or not. I remember this shit, you know what I mean? But fucking Abominog, that has that amazing cover. You're like, oh my god, this is like some Satan shit. But it's not. It's on the rebound, on the rebound. It's fucking horse shit is what that is, man. It's like dishonest.
Speaking of good albums, I pulled this one out to spin. Love is for Suckers.
Yeah, there we go.
I hadn't spun this forever. This was like after I was kind of done with them at this point, but
That's a good record.
it actually isn't bad. I mean, it's of its time, but I found it kind of interesting that a couple of the dudes from Kicks doing backup on here.
Well,
So,
that was supposed to be a Dee Snider solo album.
yeah, I remember that. And then just a couple more things, bootlegs. I was just listening to this today. 78 Hemisphere Tours. This is awesome. It's a 2 LP set. I've only got through the first record so far. It sounds fantastic, man.
Cool.
Wow.
Cool.
And
I can't do Rush, man. I
Got
know
this.
it's blasphemy, but I can't stand it.
I'm not a fan either, dude, but I get it, you know?
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, that's the one I wanted to get for sure.
this is really good, man. 79 and 80. It's pretty much the majority of it's from 79 in London. And then
the BBC stuff.
what's that?
Is that the BBC stuff?
Paris Theatre, London, and then the remaining tracks are Reading Festival 1980.
I'll have
So-
to check that one out.
Yeah, and it sounds fantastic, man. There's a song on here called Medicine Man, and it's basically rock until you drop.
Yeah.
Different
Really?
lyrics. Yeah, different lyrics. And actually, you can find that track, the same track that's on here on YouTube. Check it out. Different lyrics and all that. And like, it's just totally different. You know,
Is
with
it on that first Strike record? You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
what's that, Corey?
I think it is.
That's what I was wondering. Is that song on the EP? Because the name of that song sounds familiar.
No.
not on
It's
the
not on the EP.
No, I don't think so.
Hang on.
There was a bootleg record back in the day called First Strike,
Oh, that's right.
and I
That
think
was, I thought First Strike was Taggers.
but
There's a Def Leppard First Strike. First
Yeah.
Strike I thought was that Taggers Pantang thing.
nah, there's a Def Leppard First Strike.
Okay.
But it was from what I remember, it was a bootleg back in the mid '80s, I think. My buddy he got it on vinyl back then. And I'm like, what the hell is this stuff?
I think this stuff's been reissued like in box sets and all that. So
Yeah.
it's definitely out there. But what's kind of cool is it's the boot, they put it on the Virgo spaceship. Or
Is that
Vertigo.
that
I mean.
Vern record? Yeah, they've been doing really good work.
So that one was pretty
That's
cool.
what I heard. Does somebody have a cat or is somebody squeezing a baby?
That's my cat in the background. she's crying to get outside. I didn't know if you were picking that up or not.
Well, I didn't know if it was outside my house because I could hear it. But it's coming through like, and I just wanted to make sure because I don't have a cat. But the way it was sounding, it was over here.
So do you have something with that medicine man on it, Aaron?
No, it's not on here. I thought it might be on this thing.
Yeah, there's First Strike. It's
Okay,
not.
No.
Hmm.
Unless it had a different title before then. I mean, I can't really say I know this record all that well because I never liked the songs that much.
I don't know if they ever recorded it, actually. I mean, they may not have recorded it until they changed the
Oh,
title.
live track.
With that boot, yeah, it's playing that song live.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tempting. I don't know, man. I don't know. I go back and forth with that band, you know. Obviously, I hate what they became, but I really like some of that early stuff. And High and Dry is one of those records where I pull it out and go, God, I can't believe how good this is, man.
Yeah,
like I forget, you know.
If they
Up through
would,
Pyromania, man.
here's a question for you. You think
I play Pyromania so much.
they would have replaced Rick Allen back then? You think they would have went in a totally different direction or no?
Yeah.
Me too.
Really?
At least in relation
know.
to the percussion, it would have. I think it would have stayed a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
They had a lot of time off too.
I think Pyromania was
No.
Pyromania was leading right into Hysteria or whatever. I think.
We were talking about this with Johnny. You know, back then, 4 years felt like fucking 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4 years, I mean, from Pyromania to Hysteria is nothing.
Right.
Considering the guy had an accident, lost a arm, healed from it, and then had a rehab, and then fucking learned how to play drums with his feet.
Right.
Yeah. Pioneer, a complete pioneer in the electronics
Yeah.
portion of drums. Yeah, I mean, it was fucking amazing that he could even do it in relation to the tech of the time.
You know, that's one of the reasons, not to sound like kind of lame about it, but one of the reasons why I think I like Def Leppard even to this day. The respect I have for them keeping Rick on board.
Yeah,
The accident, you know.
I get it.
I wasn't a huge fan of Hysteria, but I liked some of it. I actually liked Adrenalize better than Hysteria.
Dude, I tried to like Hysteria and I fucking hated it so much, dude. I was upset because I liked Def Leppard before I was into anything, man. When Pyromania came out, I was so all over that when I was like 11.
Yeah.
That was really kind of my gateway into the harder shit, you know, and then it wasn't much longer before I was listening to Iron Maiden and shit, you know?
Yeah.
So when they fucking came out with Hysteria, I was like, you know, on the one hand, I was listening to thrash metal by then, you know what I mean? So like, I wasn't really going to go back to Pyromania either when I was listening to shit like Testament, you know? But on the other hand, they didn't have to go that shitty with it.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, another thing doesn't help them out, especially with the metal crowd, is the comments they've made over the years. You know, it's like we weren't really a part of that, you know, new wave British heavy metal, and you know, we weren't part of that metal thing and all that. It's like fucking bullshit, man. Early 80s, you were knee deep in it, you know.
Yeah, it's like fuck you. I'm not really into buying your records then either.
Exactly.
You know? That fuck you.
And after Pyromania, that was definitely.
I saw him say that before, but I think what he means is they weren't a part of that whole new wave of British metal run. You know, like when Priest and bands like that, they weren't. They came out.
They were. Why do you think they got signed?
Yeah, I mean. They were early. I mean, you know what I mean? I get it. They weren't right in there with Maiden through, you know.
Right, but I'm saying, like, I still don't consider them a new wave of British metal band. I've never did.
But On Through the Night is new album for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. And they were from Sheffield, right? And there was a really solid scene in the north. Now, I don't know my English geography well enough to know how close they were to each other. But if you look at like Venom and all the neat bands from like Newcastle and shit like that, I mean, there were people around in that general area. You know, by American standards, they're all close together. I don't know about there.
I just think when I think of new wave of British metal, it's like bands like Blitzkrieg and you know, early Priest. I never thought of Def Leppard as a new wave of British metal. To me, I never lumped them in with a metal band.
I did up through Pyromania. Definitely, they were as much metal as Quiet Riot was metal. I mean, there's no difference to me between the first, Metal Health and Pyromania.
I guess back then maybe, but
yeah,
it's weird. I guess.
Yeah, John makes a good point in the comments. Where he says they're trying to disavow that so they could be like kind of a standalone band, which they ended up being, which I think is interesting. But he made a Zeppelin reference, and that's funny because Led Zeppelin disavows being a part of the heavy metal, right? When they were very influential on metal becoming what it was.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't consider Zeppelin metal, but 1,000%, they influenced it. But
really, I don't see that.
Really?
No, not at all.
Oh man,
Zeppelin was blues based, man. I mean, that's like saying Muddy Waters is responsible for Judas Priest too. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean, but I disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, because here's the thing: I don't consider Zeppelin a metal band. I want to be clear about that. Okay?
Yeah, same here.
And I've said the entry point is the Sabbath and the Deep Purple for me, not the Sabbath and the Zeppelin. That's like kind of a defining thing for me. But that said, I mean, you listen to a song like Communication Breakdown, and that's not the same as I Ain't Superstitious.
Right.
And that's early. I mean, that's before Paranoid even.
Yeah.
So they were not a metal band. Your Time Is Gonna Come. Yeah, I don't think that was as influential when it comes to metal. But some of the shit like the Immigrant Song, man, you can totally draw a line from that shit into the.
No, I wouldn't say Zeppelin.
Again, I think Zeppelin's overrated, generally speaking.
You're talking the beginning of it, though. I'm talking to like the first Zeppelin. Are we not talking like the early stuff, or you're just lumping the whole? Because Immigrant Song's what, Zeppelin 3?
It's a third record. Yeah, I'm thinking the first 3 records anyway.
Yeah, I mean they're what, a year and a half apart anyway from the first, right?
They're pretty similar in style though, as far as still having that blues thing. I think they started changing more around really after the 4th album.
They recorded them pretty back to back, right? The first 3 records. Were they within 2 years? I think those first 3 records came out.
Something like that.
Yeah, I never considered Zeppelin like as part of the metal movement. Like Black Sabbath was always, I would say Zeppelin was more of the rock. They started the whole 70s rock movement.
I definitely agree with that. But I think they had influence on 80s metal. I don't think Zeppelin influenced Priest and all that.
When you say 80s metal, do you consider bands like Kix and AC/DC 80s metal for that?
I'll put them in there.
Yeah, you do. See, I don't.
Yeah,
that's where I think we different. Because I don't put them in as like 80s metal, like Kix, like 80s metal band. They're fucking hard rock,
Yeah. Well, I think you're.
It's like splitting hairs. Really.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I mean, so to me, it's all under the metal umbrella.
Yeah. See, to me, mine's not. Mine's like rock and metal. Yeah. You lumped it all in the metal.
Hard rock metal kind of goes together with me, from Kix to Sabbath, Metallica, or whatever.
I don't separate them in my collection, but I do separate.
Well, I'm just saying in my head.
That's why I do separate them, because when I'm feeling like, I just listened to High and Dry and I was really into it, I want to hear something else like that, I don't want to pull out Zeppelin. That's not what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? I don't want to pull out Paranoid.
You keep High and Dry in your metal section or your rock section?
It's in my metal section.
Okay.
Now, again, it's more about the itch that it scratches maybe than about the reality. So let me just be upfront about that. But yeah, and I've gotten fast and loose with sort of splitting things up in a way that I didn't used to be. So like that Black Sabbath thing was kind of an innovation for me as far as like having it split up. Although I've always done that with Pentagram. That was sort of the one exception, because their 70s shit and their 80s shit is so different, Wow. With Sabbath, there was more transition.
What's that?
Huh? Pentagram still doing stuff?
I don't know if they've reissued anything or issued anything lately.
No.
Because last I heard, what's his name wasn't even in the band anymore.
He's not.
Joe Hasselvander or Bobby Leibler?
Bobby,
yeah. Last I heard, he got arrested. He beat up his mom.
Yeah.
He threw him in jail for beating up his old mom. And then I was like, you're such a fucking asshole. Now I can't listen to all this fucking cool vinyl for a while because you're such a prick.
When I saw Pentagram live, fucking sometime in the 2000s, I swear that was the scariest looking guy I've ever seen on stage. That guy was fucking scary. And I'd seen like Mayhem and shit by this point, okay? Like those black metal guys, it's nothing compared to Bobby Liebling, who just looked fucking creepy and out of place and weird.
I assume all you guys have seen the documentary, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show that they were building up to where they weren't sure if he was going to be able to go on and shit, the big one, that was actually the show that I saw him at. I was kind of surprised that that was such like a watershed moment in the history of Pentagram, the show in San Francisco that I was at.
That documentary made me want to reach through the screen and beat the fucking piss out of that dude.
Yeah.
It did.
Dude, do you remember in there, one of the live shows, he couldn't finish? He was all fucked up. It was an older video.
That was like the final straw video, right?
I can't remember. It was one of the live
I know what
shows on there. But there's a dude in the crowd that yells, "You fucking junkie," all pissed off. That's the guy, Aaron, the shop I took you to in Vienna.
Yeah.
Mike. It's him. He told me, he goes, "Have you seen that? That's me yelling, you fucking junkie."
Dude.
He said I was so pissed off I got to see him, and he does this bullshit.
Well, my yo-yo story, right? Danny McCormick from the Wild Hearts had that band of yo-yos in 1999 on Sub Pop. So before that came out, they were in the Backyard Babies down here in the city. So we went. And the yo-yos put on amazing.
What the hell is that, man? Somebody's snapping shit or what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool Chain's dragging this out. He only have a couple of those. He's just opening these. Here, check it out. It's these watermelon gummies. These delicious things. So keep talking.
The yo-yos played this amazing show. Backyard Babies played the amazing show. Ginger from the Wild Heart shows up. Anyway, we party with these dudes till like 4 or 5 in the morning. I don't remember getting home. The following, maybe 8 months later, the yo-yos come back for a headlining tour, and fucking Danny's like, I don't know, heroined out of his mind. They play like 4 songs off the stage, and he starts crying. On stage.
Yeah, nice.
He was looking, dude. It's like the Liebling show, It's like you go see these guys, and it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, you can't show up. You can't be not fucked up while you're playing. Like, afterwards, dude, go crazy. But, like, for the show, at least play. Be so.
Dokken, when I saw them once, and I'm pretty sure it was they were opening for Priest on a Turbo tour, which is heavy metal parking lot.
Yeah,
the video. I'm pretty sure it was that show. And Dokken comes out, and they play like a song and a half, and George Lynch, like middle of a song, just goes backwards and out. Roadies come out, pick him up by, and carry him off. And everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And start yelling. Don Dokken comes out, and he's like, "Thanks. See you next time." And that was it. Like a song and a half, man. It's like, are you freaking kidding me?
That's amazing.
Sick, because Lynch wasn't much of a partier.
I don't know. Maybe he was sick, but
he must have been, because he's like fucking. He was like Mr. Bodybuilder then.
Yeah, that was into the 90s though. Back then, he was scrawny hair metal. Right. But
yeah, that's true.
But I don't know.
He seems like a fucking tool bag anyway.
They
both do. Lynch and fucking Don Dokken. I don't know, man. Bands like that crack me up. It's like they act as pompous as they did in the fucking 80s, and there's no reason for them to be as pompous as they are.
Right.
I just saw something like a day or two ago too, where like someone was talking about Henry Rollins. It was in the context of the Henry and Glenn Forever comics. If you've never seen those, you need to, because I didn't know about it until recently, and it blew my fucking mind. But like, someone was talking about like how Henry kind of has this respect. Like even people who don't give a shit about his records or anything else, like kind of respect him. He's like understood to be a decent guy and all that sort of thing. Whereas Glenn Danzig, he just has like these like unkind, memes posted about him online where he's like carrying kitty litter or getting punched by some guy and shit, But it's totally, he brings it on himself. It's totally him. And it's like, you would think that people like that would figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you not figure out that if you get a reputation for being an asshole, that people are going to make fun of you?
Yeah. I think he's been knocked out more times than any other guy in rock.
Right.
And Glenn's actually a nice guy, but he's one of those guys that if you're not in his circle, then
I've heard bad things about him.
It's not that he's rude. He is, but I'm not in his circle. But when I met him, he was very cool to us. He wasn't.
Who did you say? Danzig or Henry?
Danzig.
Oh, okay. I totally believe that, though. Because that's the other thing. How much of an asshole could he possibly be? I mean, a pretty big one, admittedly, but still.
Oh, I believe he could be a real asshole. I do believe that.
I've heard stories of him going into record stores where they have, misfit boots and all that, and just demanding they give them to him, and threatening to sue him and all this stuff. It's like,
that was mostly 80 stories, though, back then.
Henry Rollins started a fight with Vinyl Richie back in the day. Sounds like a story behind that.
Yeah, we got to get Vinyl Richie on and hear that.
Yeah.
My buddy Mike punched Johnny Ramone in the head one time on their last tour back.
Really?
Yeah, he got fucking pissed off at him and just sucker punched him when he was walking past him.
They say he was a hard ass, too.
He was a real... I never met him, but yeah, Mike and Dave at the shop, the owner at Shady Dog, they used to do in-store back in the 70s. Down here, we had a store called Plastic Fantastic. Our shop used to run. And
somebody got something going on.
Yeah, what is that? Aliens?
Oh, it's Metal Theologian.
Yeah, of course.
Delicious.
He's making bread.
But dude, that's the exact reason I've never ever had any interest in meeting any of these dudes. Because I don't want to, like, if I would have met Johnny Ramone and he was an asshole, that would have just killed me. You know what I mean?
Well, Dave said he was an asshole in the 70s, man. He, like Dave's 60
something ever.
Yeah, Dave's 66. So he used to run this Plastic Fantastic for the owner down here, and they did in stores in the 70s. So like he's got pictures of all these, like Blondie and all these fucking cool 70s like CBGB bands and all this shit. And he said the fucking Ramones were cool as shit, all of them except for Johnny was a tool. And that was in 77.
See, that would suck, man. And again, that's why I've never worried about getting autographs, meeting anybody. It's like, and it blows my fucking mind that anybody would pay money to meet anybody.
No.
Paying money to go backstage for a meet and greet and all that bullshit. Whatever, man. If you're into that, that's cool. Nothing against it, but it's like, that ain't for me. I ain't paying to meet anybody, just to meet somebody.
God, dude. Here's the greatest story ever. This popped into my head just now. It's Dave and Mike at the shop. They own Shady Dog. Back when they first started the shop, like 26 years ago, they got free tickets. Mike got his mom calls and says, "Hey, I got these tickets to Penn and Tyler's America at one of the casinos in Jersey. Do you guys want to go? Like you and your, me and my and your father can't go." Mike calls Dave and says, "Yo, you want to go see Penn and Teller tonight?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they go down there, right? And he's like, they're looking at the tickets, and he's like, "That's weird. That must be the name of the tour, America." And then he's like sitting there, and he's realizing there's 3 microphones on the stage. He's like, "That's weird." So he's sitting there, and all of a sudden the house goes down, and he's like, the announcer comes on, and he goes, "The Claridge would like to welcome the rock band America." So America, the band, was opening
for Penn and Teller.
Penn and Teller.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
Here's Dave. Dave, it's all quiet. Nobody's even clapping yet. And Dave goes, "Oh, I fucking hate these guys." And he puts his head down, right? He goes like this, and Mike's sitting there, and all of a sudden he's like, all these fucking middle-aged women are turning around, just giving him death stare.
That's great.
He's like, I didn't know what to do. I'm just looking around. Everybody thought it was me. Fucking Dave just, I fucking hate these guys.
Man, how low have you fallen to be opening for Penn and Teller? Why not just cut it off and be done with it?
That was 20 some years ago too. So I mean, they were like, man, they were old then.
Yeah, you might just want to give up and find something.
But it was like, why the fuck would Penn and Teller have that band open for him like that? I didn't make any sense.
Well, at least they were good. It wasn't like Gallagher or fucking Carrot Top, you know.
Hey man, what's wrong with Carrot Top? Speaking of beefing up, dude, that guy started pumping some iron too.
Yeah, he's a freak now, dude.
Yeah, dude, he lost all his muscle. He looks like a girl now.
He lost the muscle?
Yeah, they said that he hasn't been doing the bodybuilding shit lately.
Last time I saw him, he was all Schwarzenegger.
Joe Rogan was talking about him on his podcast, just ripping into him.
Yeah, you can't keep that unless you're doing 4 or 5 hours a day, crazy supplements. That does not happen naturally. That kind of shit.
You got to be one of the misfits in your.
There's some work involved, you know. That's a job, you know. That's why actors look good, because that's their fucking job, you know. Yeah, of course you got a 12-pack. You're fucking paid to have a 12-pack, so you know. Are you so fucking surprised that he looks this fucking good?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Plus, I still think they juice it up too. Some of those guys.
Right.
There's no way. When fucking Carrot Top was his thickest, there's no way that was natural. No fucking way.
No, that's like 3 times the size of his own bicep. That it's just not possible.
It almost looked on his frame. It looked unnatural.
Yeah, his biceps were.
Joe Piscopo syndrome.
Just dude.
Yeah, I forgot about Joe Piscopo. He did the same shit, didn't he?
All upper body and like fucking bird legs.
Yeah, dude.
How the fuck did we get talking about this?
I don't know, but I love Joe Piscopo, man.
More than Carrot Top?
I'm glad someone brought up Gallagher, because I'm going to show that to my kid when we finish here. Like, there's got to be something on YouTube, right? Go, yeah, in the 70s we thought this was funny. Yeah, and he'll like smash a watermelon, and like my kid's gonna be like,
what a fucking he talking about the biggest fucking asshole on the for a dude that smashes watermelons. He sure is a big fucking asshole. You know what I mean?
Do you remember when his
like him more for that.
I remember when there was 2 of them.
It was his brother, and he was suing him because he was ripping him off.
And then he fucking died. Then the brother died. I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He killed him. He hit him with that fucking mallet in the head.
The Smash-O-Matic. Laz got it.
Yeah.
He smashed him in the head with it.
I think he fucking killed him. No, I think cancer or some shit. I could be way wrong about that, but for some reason his name was Gallagher too.
Yeah,
but he was touring like he was Gallagher. He had
that scene from Braveheart when Braveheart sneaks in and he smashes that dude's head in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
that's what Gallagher actually did to him. They say cancer, but he smashed his head with that mallet.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And he wore plastic just for safety.
But can you imagine, like, I think the reason why his brother went out as him is because Gallagher had some kind of health issue or something.
Oh, I don't know. I thought he was just ripping him off because I thought he was suing him at one time.
He was, yeah.
He was. But I think there was something like the real Gallagher had, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking he might have like a cancer scare or something.
Yeah.
Something to that effect where he had to take time off the road. So his brother decided to go out as him.
You know, a cancer scare too, that's the sort of thing that'll really turn you into a prick, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm thinking about that. When I was in a really bad car wreck several years back, and one of those where I could have gotten killed if I hadn't been wearing a seatbelt, I decided I needed to catch up on being a dick to people.
Yeah, right. Man,
Yeah.
fuck.
No, I'm kind of glad that Gallagher's an asshole, though. I kind of like him more for that now. You know what I mean? Like, because if he's like this nice guy, like going, "Oh shucks, let's crush a watermelon," it's like, showed, you know. But if he's like a dick about it and like self-important, I mean, because that's part of why Glenn Danzig gets the shit, right? Because it's funny, right? He's a fucking little wiener, you know.
Probably like fucking what 78 years old Gallagher. Now he just gets up on stage. He's like, "You want me to smash this fucking pumpkin?" That's all he says, man.
Yeah.
That's all he says. Yeah, give me an apple.
Yeah, Doug Henning, actually. Fucking John just brought up Doug Henning. Yeah, that's like the next step after Gallagher. We got to talk about Doug Henning. Except there's nothing to say about him, really.
Nah, he ate shit in the late 80s because he came out as gay or something, right?
I remember him.
I think that's what killed his career is he came out as gay in the 80s, and that was the end of him.
Who was the one comedian that was in the 80s, like real straight? And he had all these.
Doug Henning wasn't a comedian. He was a magician. He was like, remember when, who's the other dude? Copperfield?
Blackstone? Okay, yeah, David Copperfield.
It was huge, like 86, 85 when he made fucking Statue of Liberty disappear.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, well, Doug Henning was big, like right in that era.
Yeah, a little earlier even, I think. Because I remember David Copperfield was the next big thing after Doug Henning.
I'm almost positive that is the like Doug Henning came out as gay and it ruined his career in the 80s. I'm almost positive that's what happened to him. That's what I remember reading somewhere. I could be fucking wrong. I don't know.
How do we get into 80s
gay magicians? How did we get into 80s gay magicians? Now, Copperfield was more. He said more 90s. Nah, he started early 80s.
Who was Sam, the little comedian dude that would
Sam Kinison?
Yeah. That dude, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's like same deal. He would yell. He was like Gallagher smashing shit. He would just get up and yell shit.
Yeah, he was the yelling guy.
Yeah.
As soon as he sobered up, he got killed.
Bip Bop Boom just said Doug performed with his hippie wife. So see, I was fucking way off. He wasn't gay. He wasn't gay in the 80s, and that did not kill his career.
When was he performing with his hippie wife? He still could have come out as gay in the late 80s.
In the 80s. No, I mean, I could swear that's what happened to him, but yeah, like you said, a wife doesn't mean anything.
Corey, what do you have to say about all this? You've been quiet.
So you left off at Kinnis, and I was going to say he made
fucking records. And we got
we're way down the rabbit trail, but I know I'm refreshed on Sam Kinison lately because he was in the documentary came out just a year or two ago. Was it Castillo, drummer?
Oh, Randy.
David.
Yeah, Randy.
Did you guys see that documentary? It's really good, and he had a nod to Sam Kinison where they were like buddies. Yeah. I guess they hung out and were like really good friends.
Well, Sam got hooked up with all those guys doing that Wild Thing cover.
Yeah.
So he was friends with Slash, and actually, at the time of his death, he had cleaned up. You know, I thought he was funny when he wasn't screaming.
Yeah.
Like some of the shit that would come out of his mouth, you're like, holy fuck, man. It was almost like another Dice.
Yeah,
I was going to say like a shock jock kind of thing.
Right.
Do you remember Dice on Video Music Awards?
Oh, yeah, when he told him he was going to.
No, he went out live and he was like cussing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, they would re-show the VMAs like constantly for the next month, but his section would be cut out. They never showed it again.
You remember when they brought him back? And well, they brought him back for like a skit, and he was standing outside like the backstage area, but he was outside, and he was trying to get in the building, and nobody would let him in the building. And this guy, the doorman, was giving him a hard time. It was this little shit guy, and then Pinhead from Hellraiser walks up behind Dice, and Dice like looks at him. He goes, "I'll get him in a headlock. You headbutt him."
I remember that.
Yeah.
You ever see the episode of MASH with Dice in it?
No.
He was one of the soldiers coming in, that have been injured.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
The TV show?
yeah. Late on
Amazing.
that, like towards the end.
Yeah.
Then he was what? He was in
Wise guy.
16 Candles or Pretty in Pink. What was
Adventures
it?
of Ford Fairlane.
Yeah,
Thinking.
No, he was in
That's a great movie. But he was in with Ducky.
Making the Grade.
The one with Ducky. Was that 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink?
One of those two.
Yeah. But he's
I
a
really
dork.
watch movies with names like that.
You never see.
No, I've never seen Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles.
I just watched Weird Science last week again. I love
Yeah, I
that.
never saw that. I've never seen The Breakfast Club either.
Oh my god, dude.
Dude, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I just
Ah.
I don't even know what to say.
Theologian my ass.
See, here's the thing. If it's a choice between fucking Breakfast Club and Invasion of the Blood Farmers, what am I going to watch?
Oh my god.
That's not even a question.
Yeah,
I remember Invasion of the Blood Farmers. You know what I remember most? The fucking sound effects when they were sucking super amplified sucking blood sound.
how did you miss those in the 80s, man?
I was in Germany.
That movie.
He was watching German snuff films.
Speaking of movies, I usually show one. I just watched Billy Wilder's The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. Anybody ever seen this? 1970.
Was it a porno?
Nah, I wish.
German.
It has Christopher Lee's in it. Plays his brother. It's just a whacked out movie. There's like a little bit of is Holmes and Watkin gay, and there's a little bit of Holmes's drug addiction in here. It's for a Sherlock Holmes movie. It's pretty whacked out, man.
I got a good one.
But
Uncle Peckerhead.
I don't know.
It's a horror film.
Is that from the 40s?
Nah, brand new. Horror
I
comedy.
think I've actually heard of that one. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah.
Now, I knew that if I was coming back on here again, I would have to be ready with a DVD or Blu-ray, so I did bring one. So I brought the 15th anniversary of Reservoir Dogs.
Fuck
That's-
yeah.
It's in the gas can.
Oh,
Oh
that's,
shit, that's awesome.
that's
That
awesome.
was pretty nice.
I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
When you open it, it's a book of matches.
Oh shit.
They went all out on that one.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Thought you might appreciate that.
That's a killer cassette. Man, we're coming up on 2 hours. I think people are probably getting bored.
No, they're not.
Nah.
Hey, I've got one more little challenge though, because we were talking about the internet and shit being on the internet.
Is that the new?
Yeah, that's the new one.
That's cool. What were you saying, Aaron?
I have a very vague memory of a Republic Steel jingle from the 70s, and I have not been able to find it online. So if anyone can find an old fucking Republic Steel jingle, send it to the Metal Theologian, and I'd appreciate it a lot.
Was it like a corporate
Like
jingle?
Republic, yeah, like you know how like they like GE had like a jingle and shit like that. Well, Republic Steel had one.
Okay.
And it was probably like regional too, because like I mean this is in Cleveland, right? So you know, steel is kind of big still in the 70s. You know,
I
yeah,
may-
Republic Steel.
I may have that on 45. Let me look.
Yeah, you probably
I will
do.
be so impressed if you do.
He might.
I do have some kind of Pepsi thing on. It was I can't remember if it was how to sell Pepsi, like for their salesmen or something. It's around here
awesome.
somewhere.
I got the old Mad Magazine ones. Remember the ones that used to come on that outside of the, or no, the inside cover of the Mad Magazine?
They weren't even were they paper or flexi?
They were like flexi cardboard.
Yeah, I say they weren't even like real flexies. They were just shit.
Yeah. I still
It's
have,
amazing that even works, isn't it?
yeah, they work, but I have most of mine are still connected to the magazine.
I never tried one. It's like that's gotta fuck up your.
Yeah, I tried it years ago on an old turntable.
Oh Jesus, hang on, there's a request.
Well, actually, I was watching a movie recently. I don't own it, but they're playing it on one of the what do they call them? Show flicks or We've got Comcast around here, so I don't know. It's
like TV or whatever.
there's like 5 or 6 channels that got a little rectangle around them. Anyway, they
Oh,
play a lot of,
thank
like they're like Blackula, all that kind of stuff, you know. And I brought it up so you can see a picture of it, but Petey Wheatstraw.
That's blaxploitation. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, this is shit. So
That's
this
Rudy
is,
Ray Moore.
Yeah, Rudy Ray Moore of Dolomite.
Yeah.
And this is Petey Wheatstraw, the devil's son-in-law.
How was it?
Yeah.
Have no fear, it's the comedy smash of the year.
How was it?
This is so. This is a guy that just real quick. He gets killed, goes to hell. Devil makes a deal with him, lets him come back with a special powered cane, and he uses a cane to do some stuff. Devil's involved, and he marries his ugly daughter, and he's trying to get away from. Just trying to figure out a way to not marry his ugly daughter. So they kidnap a hobo and dress him up like him, and they try to pawn him off on Satan that it's him. So the ugly hobo guy marries him. But
Oh my gosh.
man, it's just like that pretty much. So and a lot of boobs, a lot of chicks, and the white guy's always a complete fucking moron. You know, he's just an idiot. You know, half-wall fucking moron. You know, with some white chick. You know, he don't want to bang her. You know, she pays him. He only does it because she pays him. That kind of thing. You know, like the sheriff's wife. And, you know, it's awesome. He jumps out a window completely naked. He's rolling down a hill.
How many times do you see the boom mic come in to the frame?
I didn't notice on that one. I'll tell you what, on Dolomite it sure does.
Oh yeah.
And
Blackenstein. Have you ever seen that one?
I didn't get to see it. I saw it on Amazon. It's on my list, man. Coming up, Blackenstein.
I
I've
think
started that like 3 times, and kind of something else always kind of comes up.
that station you were talking about, Aaron, where it says movies, whatever, it just has a box around it, right?
Yeah.
We have that too. I just watched yesterday. I watched DC Cab.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I haven't seen
Oh, I
that.
forgot about that.
That's an awesome movie or what?
That's the last time I saw that movie was probably like fucking
80s for me.
yeah, like cable, late night cable in the 80s.
Yeah. Gary Busey.
Mr. T,
Yeah.
Mr. T. Yeah.
he rips the cab door off.
DC Cab.
Yeah, I forgot. I picked up this on Record Store Day. That
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I
Trouble
see.
Walking. Don't ask me why. I have a real one. I felt bad. Like I didn't buy enough.
Hey, there's a request that I show this from Mr. Lazarus. Let me take off the thing. See, I kind of feel bad doing this now, but here we go. Yeah. That's the Var record. Looks so amazing. And this is late. This is like 94. But yeah, what's it called?
It looks older though.
It's cold. How do you read that?
You really want to know? I was raised Orthodox, right? And like we went to Russian churches when I was growing up. And I was in the choir because it was so fucking boring that was something to do. And so what I ended up doing was, because that was boring too, is I figured out the Cyrillic by like listening to what they were saying and that. So I kind of figured out the alphabet. Then later on, I got a crash course in it, learned how to pronounce a couple of the words like properly, like the vowel that doesn't exist in English. I didn't used to be able to do that.
Now,
But,
what,
I actually did learn how to pronounce Cyrillic.
what kind of music is it?
It's metal.
Like, any comparison?
I've never heard Aaron at loss for a comparison. This is
No, I
history.
mean it's kind of thrashy. It's kind of, I just want to think about what to compare it to and kind of be precise. But it has like that kind of like Slavic like singing style where it's kind of like sort of yelling a little bit more. Yeah, demon metal's kind of like it all. I think this might actually be a Jesus record. I've heard that, but I don't know if it's true.
It almost looks like a 70s Uriah Heep cover.
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
It kind of does. Yeah, it's a fucking great cover, isn't it? I mean, how can you resist that?
Huh.
And that means like Var is like barbarian in Russian or something.
Now,
like that.
Did you order that or did you come across that somewhere?
Oh no, I got this from someone in Russia.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't find. I mean, I'm blown away that Corey found that tour record in Wheeling of all places. But yeah, I don't see shit like this around. And a lot of them are kind of cheap. You just have to pay the shipping, but like the records will be $10 or whatever. Like Corrosia Metallo records or something are cheap, but this one isn't. So.
I guess there was a musician that lives in Wheeling, and I guess he got rid of part of his collection, and so that's why this was kind of the leftover. So I'm going to definitely keep an eye on the Discogs for Nail City Records, see if any more of those turn up.
Damn, you hear that and you're like, what did I miss?
Right.
Wow. All right, guys, I think I got to wrap it up.
Wow, you got to take a shit or something?
I'm getting there. Yeah, we're 2 hours, man. We've talked about all the comedians. We've talked about.
I think we should go and see how long we get.
I don't think we talked about the punk rock magician. We totally went by him. We spent too much time on fucking Gallagher and not enough time on the punk rock magician.
I don't remember it.
At the end of he came out, he had a fake mohawk, like a rainbow mohawk, and he had a fake British accent. And every time he did a magic trick, he'd say, "It's magic, fuck you." Everybody would go, "Fuck you," and he'd go, "Fuck you." That was it.
Nah, I don't remember him. When was this?
80s.
Nah, shit.
Mid 80s, like Dangerfields on HBO era kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch all that shit.
It's from that show, probably.
That's how I got to meet Bill Hicks.
Oh, he's fucking great.
Back on South Street in Philly. We went to see Winger down there of all bands. I don't know why. My buddy wanted to go. They were playing at the Theater of the Living Arts. And after the show, we were walking down the street, and there's this little comedy club down there. And he noticed the name on the marquee, Bill Hicks. And I was like, oh, that's that dude from HBO. So he's like, you want to go check it out? Let's go see what the show time is. So we walked in, sat at the bar. There's nobody at the bar. Maybe like 3 other people. And then in the corner where we sat, there's this dude sitting in the dark. And I'm talking, and I look over. It's fucking Bill Hicks. I was like, fucking blown away. Because I had literally just seen him that week. That's why we knew the name. We had just seen, I think he was on with Dice.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, there was another guy. Man, I know the name. I can't think of the name. He's kind of a bald dude. He was talking about fucking his cat or something. Robert Smigel.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
He's funny as piss. I don't know if he's even around anymore. But
Robert Smigel, the same one that does the SNL skits.
Yeah, I was wondering.
It might not be Robert, but I think the last name's Smigel for sure. But maybe it's not Robert, because now that you said that, there is a guy on SNL. I don't think it's the same guy.
Here's the one dude. I'm trying to remember his name. He was 80s, real monotone, and he had like real quick. It was like Small World, but I wouldn't want to paint it.
That's the guy with the had real curly hair.
What the hell is going on?
Fucking WD-40 or whatever it's called.
Somebody put the drawbridge down.
Yeah.
Somebody lubed that shit up somewhere or whatever.
You're thinking of he said one of his jokes was I worked in a fire hydrant factory once. I couldn't find parking anywhere.
Yeah, it's that kind of shit. Yeah. Super dry and nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember a dude from like the 90s or early 2000s. He had like a real, deadpan humor, and he always wore the glasses, but he ended up committing suicide. But he was hilarious. And
he was similar. He was. I remember that dude too. He was younger, but he was kind of similar. He had those weird little. God, what was that dude's name? He had albums out and everything. Remember the one was I went to unlock my front door and accidentally used my car key.
Yeah.
So I took the house.
Back.
What the fuck?
Yeah, somebody sounds like they're fucking firing something up.
I gotta go. I've had enough of you guys tonight.
Now that we're on the comedian. Netflix. Go check Tom Segura.
Aaron, Metal Theologian. You gotta mute your thing, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
You got some like crazy sounds coming.
Wow.
He's got a fucking UFO over
That's
his
what
head.
it sounds like.
Yeah, go Netflix it up and check out any one of the 4 Tom Segura stand-ups on there if you want to laugh your ass off, man.
Haven't heard of him.
Oh, dude. He's so good. So funny.
Hedberg. Was that dude's name that killed himself?
Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
That's right. That's one of them.
Stephen Wright. That was the 80s guy.
Stephen Wright's the older guy. Yeah. Mitch Hedberg killed himself a couple years back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Mibber. Nice.
Later, remember.
And you know what was really funny was that Greg Giraldo too. Did he kill himself? I think he killed himself too. He was
he was a little more recent, but
Yeah,
he would
did
just kill it in those the comedian roast or the celebrity roast. He would just kill it.
he was fucking awesome on there.
Yeah.
He ended up he had some depression issues.
Was he the dark haired dude?
Yeah.
Kind of shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess average height maybe. But he would come. Oh my god, he would rip everybody at that roast. It was fucking awesome.
That's about right, man. It sounded like Mongolian throat singing was coming.
What's that Barbar record in the background?
Unmute it now and see what.
Yeah, why don't we each?
No, my wife put some in the microwave, and that was the UFO before. But it's like way the hell over there. I don't know why it picks the shit up, but my thing always sounds like shit. So
Why don't we show?
yeah, sorry about that.
Why don't we show a record before we go? Why don't we each show?
Yeah.
Go for it.
And then we'll go.
Greeno's prairie dogging it right now. So. Greeno better go first.
Somebody go.
See, he's got the meat sweat.
Meat sweat. What is that?
I don't know. He muted himself. Lubricant.
Fucking mute button. God damn it. Yeah, this is Lubricant. And I want to show this because isn't that a great name for a Finnish band? That just sounds like the sort of thing that a Finnish band, especially because it's kind of that groove metal shit, early 90s. Like, not as much as like, Zisma or something like that. But they've got a little bit of that going on mixed in with their kind of deathy shit. But Lubricant, man, that is so Finnish.
Lubricant.
Lubricant is so finished.
Like, imagine the fucking Finns standing there going, yes, our band is called Lubricant. I can't even do a Finnish accent. That's just like what I picture. And like, they're all like, yeah. And they're all like cracking up on the inside, but none of them is actually even smiling because that's how the Finns are.
Dude, that sounds like what Spinal Tap should have been called, like before Spinal Tap.
Yeah,
When we started out, we were Lubricants.
Lubricant. It's a really good name, isn't it? But like, if they weren't Finnish, I think it would probably suck.
All right, what you got, Corey?
Kavis Jute. This will be on an upcoming 70s Hard and Heavy. I'm reading Bob Daisley's book, For Fact's Sake. Ozzy's most known for Ozzy's bass guitar, as you guys know, for the first 2 albums. And then I'm learning a lot about him. He went to Widowmaker after this. This is a 90s reissue. But yeah, just check it out.
Refugees?
What?
I'm not sure.
A Little Wing of Refugees reissue, I think it is. I remember that label.
Yes,
I've never seen that one before, though.
Man, you're good. You're good. There it is.
Yeah, that's a good band too, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this is some really good 70s Hard and Heavy goodness. And then he went on to Widowmaker and then Ozzy for a little while. You guys know Daisley's story, but there's a lot of stuff I'm learning about it, and I had to go pick up that.
Is that a newer reissue? Is that available?
It's a 90s reissue. It's not. I had to pay up for it because I couldn't. You can't touch the original, of course. And I think there isn't a Karma reissue floating around, but this one was a little easier for me to grab off Discog. Somebody was selling it for about the $40, $50 range.
That's cool.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
You got Bizzarro.
Okay, so Here is one of those OSTs, you know, more of a score than a soundtrack.
Nice.
That's cool.
For Nightbreed.
Wow.
This is the Waxwork redo that they did with all the new art.
Mm-hmm.
Badass.
That's killer.
That's the
God, that looks so fucking good.
did the Halloween one that I got.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's another Aaron, man. Aaron Boone. And so this is Danny Elfman. Everybody knows Danny Elfman, right?
Yep.
Really fucking cool scores, you know. There's just some splatter, white and like red-ish splatter. But
speaking of splatter,
Greeno's thinking about that. Like, oh, I know something that's going to splatter in a few
splatter,
minutes.
All right, I got.
He's like, shh.
Winterland. Is that the one you were getting ready to show?
Yeah.
This thing sounds great, dude.
I know.
I
I got another one.
Nibber.
I got the Ramones
Oh, where'd you get that?
Nice.
live 92
Oh, that's cool.
FM broadcast.
God, it's just too many to keep up with, man.
I know. This is actually a little bit of an older, couple of years ago, I think.
Right on.
No, last year. So it should still be around.
Huh, I have to watch for that one.
It's live at the Hollywood Palladium. And there's the
Fuck off, Mibber.
Almond Betts band.
The boot.
They made this look like an old Sony. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. See the spine looks like the old Sony spine.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a great record, man. I was really surprised. I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even know it was out.
Right on.
Well, cool, man.
Anything for you, Aaron? Or did you already show something? I can't keep up.
Yeah, he had lubricant.
Yeah,
I can
lubricant.
show another one, though.
Go ahead. Greeno's like, yeah, go ahead. I just shit my
Go right ahead. Go right ahead, man.
Are we,
Greeno, just go to the bathroom. I'll time you.
Yeah, go.
It is kind of a cool one.
Night
Ooh.
crawler.
Yeah. Some nobodies from Cleveland. It's like 89.
Nice.
Yeah, I wish I bought this back then because I actually remember seeing this in like the cutout bins and shit. But
EP, looks like.
that's 7 songs,
That was
about
like,
15 minutes aside.
What year is it?
89.
Oh, wow. Dude, that looks earlier.
back.
Yeah, it does.
around
It feels
here.
earlier, too. It's thick and shit, you know?
in
It looks like the
really good,
Nidsinger album cover.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
When you said you saw them in the budget bins back in the day, the band around here was the band Destroyer. That's like OPI or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was our budget bin record because I guess they were from around here. I don't even know, but I used to see that fucking thing everywhere, and somebody just reissued it within the last year or two. Maybe that Heaven and Hell. Have you guys ever seen that Heaven and Hell records?
Yeah.
I think it's on that label.
It's the Heavy Metal Museum guy. Gary, Heaven and Hell.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was him.
It's him and another dude.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Well, why doesn't he sell them cheaper?
You have to ask him that.
I will. Like, well, okay. Well, cool. We better let Greeno go take a shit before.
Yeah. He's gonna lay cable across his house.
He's afraid to move right now.
I've got one more here just for Greeno. I do, but forget it.
Do it. I can take it.
Do it.
Uh-oh.
Corey had enough.
Corey's, yeah, he heard the shit talk. He was that.
All right. Well, all right. Thanks, guys. I guess.
Why did Liver say he wipes like a dog on the carpet?
Cause he said he just took a nice massive shit and he's feeling great. No,
He's wiping his ass on the carpet.
yeah.
Oh man, I better text him and tell him I got a video to send him.
Lads, yeah, I just got that record in beginning of the week. The Vatican record.
He said, "Bring the computer into the shitter, Greeno."
It's a desktop, man.
Anybody have any?
I actually did that once.
You know what?
Are you still there?
I've got a long list here, RSD stuff. We can go over this if you got a few minutes.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Greeno's
let's
getting
talk about the next drop.
The next drop. There it is.
Greeno's starting to get pale.
It's my bedtime. I just need to go to bed.
All the blood rushing through your penis.
One good hard cough and you might shit all over your face. Greeno, text me in the morning. Come on. Guess what? I shit the bed last night.
Shitty bed.
Well, we definitely lost Corey. He bounced. He's like, fuck this. I'm out of here.
What the fuck?
We scared him away. Oh, fuck.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Never just asked, you smell that?
Hey, I had fun, man. Thanks for inviting me on, guys. It's been great.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks.
We'll definitely be back more often now. Than we're going to try and pick up once a week again.
Definitely.
But Johnny's going to come back on for sure.
Talk about some more comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on again. We appreciate it.
Had fun.
All right, man. I'll talk to you all soon.
Take it easy.
Right on.